This is an Areop's skull. Such a large capacity mandible and teensy capacity cranium. This is an Archaeopteryx. Correction, this used to be an Archaeopteryx. The museum staff have labeled this a Struthiomimus, literally ostrich mimic. Ah, a very nice specimen of Eohippus, somewhat flatter than it appeared in real life. This is a mastodon, one of the early mammals. Technically, the mastodon is not a dinosaur at all, but since they date back to prehistory, they're included in the exhibit. This particular example of the order Proboscidea is the Mammoth americanus, or North American mastodon. The chief feature which distinguishes this shaggy beast from the elephant and the woolly mammoth are its molar teeth. The male and female Triceratops look every inch the proud parents. A fairly accurate model of Struthiomimus, or ostrich mimic. It's a painting of a Spinosaur. The painting is accurate and workmanly, with little regard for nuance or emotion. Suspended overhead by thin wires, the pterodactyl frozen in mid-swoop presents a most horrific tableau. A fine painting of a mighty Brontosaurus, the thunder lizard. This huge creature with its tiny brain is currently the subject of a controversy. Dr. Earl Douglas from the Carnegie Museum of Natural History believes that current Brontosaurus displays have the wrong heads mounted on their skeletons. However, Dr. Othniel Marsh, who originally discovered the Brontosaurus, believes that the heads on current displays are correct. Only time and more fossil evidence will conclusively prove which of these esteemed gentlemen is correct. A sign on this dinosaur bone display says, "Please touch." Either these bones feel lonely, or the museum wants you to learn more about the bones by coming into close personal contact with them. The thigh bone from a young Tyrannosaurus rex who no longer has any need for it. You pick it up and place it in your purse. A small sign identifies this dinosaur as an iguanodon, which means iguana tooth. However, from the Tyrannosaurus rex's point of view, this dinosaur could be identified as dinner. The sign says, "Push button to hear Rex speak."
Welcome to the Leyendecker Museum Dinosaur Display. My name is Rex, and I'd like to tell you about myself. I'm a type of dinosaur known as Tyrannosaurus rex, which means king of the tyrant lizards. Although I was not the largest type of dinosaur, I was the largest predator ever to walk the earth. Some of my friends were 40 feet long and weighed 8 tons, with teeth that were 6 inches long. Your modern elephants don't weigh more than 6 tons. I lived between 250 and 65 million years ago, during a period known as the Age of Dinosaurs, also called the Mesozoic era. The first complete skeleton of a Tyrannosaurus rex was found just 24 years ago in Montana in 1902. Although there were many meat-eating dinosaurs, I was considered the best killing machine who ever lived. Speaking of which, I'm feeling a bit hungry. Would you like to volunteer to be my next meal?
It's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. His name is Rex. Isn't that clever? A house pet, tastefully prepared for battle in 16th century armor. A rare 17th century English tapestry which tells the story of Teutonic warrior cockroaches that crossed into England from Germany and besieged the castle of Rochford-on-Essex. Although the cockroaches managed to storm the castle walls after a 90-day siege, the knights of the castle managed to squash the invaders when they reached the castle's inner keep. Since that great battle, the castle of Rochford-on-Essex has been free of cockroaches. Unfortunately, it has also been free of humans. 1 year after the great battle, everyone in the castle died of the plague. Shortly afterward, the castle fell into disrepair and sank into the swamp. An Italian suit of armor circa 1470. The plates are skillfully modelled. The helmet is of a type known as a salade, introduced in Italy and Germany. The salade helmet was elongated and pointed in the rear, normally worn with a neck and face defense called a mentonnier. The mentonnier's lower section was fastened to the breastplate and protected the neck, while the hinged upper part cupped high enough to protect the chin, nose, and cheekbones. The armour of Gallio de Genrillac, 1465 to 1546, distinguished member of one of the great feudal families of France, who served as a warrior under Charles VIII and was master of artillery for Louis XII and Francis I. The structural features of the Genrillac armour, dated 1527, indicate that it was made by an armourer who knew every trick of the art. The helmet and colleton offered complete protection for the head, and every surface is curved to deflect arrow, lance, and sword. The helmet also has vision slits, ample for sight, yet narrow enough to prevent a weapon from entering. The helmet is reinforced with a forehead plate and a rondelle in the nape of the neck, a weak spot in the human anatomy. The armour of Alessandro Farnese, Duke of Parma, circa 1570. It was made by Lucio Piccinino, master armourer of the Renaissance. Elaborately decorated, this fine suit was presented to Archduke Ferdinand of the Tyrol in 1579, who kept it at Castle Ambras. A fine example of Maximilian Armour, made in Germany in 1505. The steel has a characteristic silvery colour. Maximilian Armour was first used in Milan, which set the fashion for all Europe in matters of dress and armour. The suit of armour is empty. The helmet on this Italian suit of armour, circa 1460, is interesting because it's a barboot, which lacked protection for the lower part of the face. The barboot is sometimes called the barboot sallet because, like the 15th century sallet, it doesn't enclose the whole head, offering most of its protection to the top. Unlike the barbut, however, the salet is often characterized by a reinforced forehead plate and an elongated pivoted nape defense. It is, however, difficult to differentiate between the barbut, the salet, and the bassinet. The shallow barbut resembles the salet, while the deep barbut resembles the bassinet. Then again, who really cares? A painting of The Black Prince as a Fierce Baby by Ed Botticelli circa 1560. The cheap wood frame is by the Leyendecker Museum circa 1925. An empty chest from the 15th century. Although the carvings on the exterior are crude, cut into the wood by someone with little talent or ability for wood carving, the chest now resides in a museum, simply because it's old. Kind of makes you stop and think, doesn't it? It looks remarkably like a glass case in the shape of a pyramid. A small card informs you that this case contained the famous Dagger of Amon-Ra, which is now missing. Although there are a few scratches on the glass case, there are no signs of forced entry into the display. There aren't even any fingerprints. Oops! Congratulations! You've cracked the case of the Dagger of Amon-Ra. The mummified corpse of Amenophis III, also known as Amenhotep III, or Memnon by the Greeks. He built large temples to Amon-Ra, both at Karnak and at Luxor. In the 5th year of his reign, Amenophis marched into Nubia to quell a mighty rebellion. He also ruled over the Mesopotamians, since his kingdom was quite large. We also know that Amenophis was a mighty hunter who slew 102 lions during the first 10 years of his reign in his spare time. Now he's dead. An Egyptian-style pillar. The placard says, "This is a granite stele depicting Horus and Thoth found in the Temple of Amon-Ra." This stele was modified during the reign of the pharaoh Akhenaten, then restored during the reign of Tutankhamun. A sepulchral stele found in a tomb of the 6th dynasty. It tells the story of Una, born during the reign of King Tita, who served under Tita's successor Pepi. Una died during the reign of King Murena, full of days and honor. A sturdy window that looks out on the city of New York. This is the Uruach T, a winged solar disk with 2 uraei, the goddess Nekhebit on the right and Buto on the left. According to one myth, Horus assumed the form of the solar disk to protect himself from the evil god Set. This is a granite stele depicting Horus and Thoth, found in the Temple of Amon-Ra. This stele was modified during the reign of the pharaoh Akhenaten, then restored during the reign of Tutankhamun. This pyramid is a model of the Great Pyramid of Cheops, Khufu, as it appears today. Originally, the entire surface of the pyramid was covered with smooth, polished limestone. This covering has worn away over time to reveal the stepped surface we see now. The base of the Great Pyramid covers 13 acres and was built with over 2 million stones to a height of 480 feet. Construction took 30 to 50 years. Don't touch the sharp pieces of glass. You might cut yourself. It's you, Laura. The stepped pyramid of Gough Hotep, built during the 4th dynasty and located near Okirstia, the ancient Egyptian capital on the Nile River. Known for his strange ideas, the pharaoh Gough Hotep had this pyramid built in such a way that it was honeycombed with rooms that could be rented out to travelers, thereby paying for the awesome costs of its construction. Popular as a resort destination, the Gough Hotep Pyramid Hotel was renowned for its revitalizing qualities. The hotel's public relations department promoted the energizing powers of the pyramid shape, emphasizing the way cosmic forces were channeled through every room in the hotel. An ancient hotel brochure, printed on a sturdy piece of papyrus, declares that an overnight stay at the Gough Hotep Pyramid can bring the dead back to life, which helps to explain the numerous mummies found in the pyramid by modern archaeologists. While the Gough Hotep Pyramid Hotel was an interesting experiment, it never recouped the massive costs of its construction. While it was moderately popular among the tourist trade, sophisticated travelers preferred rooms with windows, which the Gough Hotep did not have. A model of the stepped pyramid of Saqqara, believed to be the oldest Egyptian pyramid. Construction of this pyramid was decreed by the pharaoh Zoser of the 3rd dynasty and built by the architect Imhotep, who is probably the most important builder in Egyptian history. Originally, the structure was a simple mastaba of coarse rubble, cased with white limestone above a square pit, but was later heightened into a stepped pyramid with 6 levels. This placard describes the full translated text on the Rosetta Stone, which still resides in the British Museum. In summary, the text records the decree made at Canopus by the priesthood in honor of the pharaoh Ptolemy III, Euergetes I, who reigned from 247 to 222 BC. The decree discusses the great benefits which the pharaoh had conferred on Egypt and states what festivals are to be celebrated in his honor, concluding with orders that a copy of the decree in hieroglyphics, Demotic and Greek shall be placed in every large temple in Egypt. The card identifies the slab of black basalt as the Rosetta Stone. Hieroglyphs and letters from the English alphabet are clearly engraved on the stone. The Rosetta Stone was found by a French artillery officer among the ruins of Fort Saint-Julien near the Rosetta mouth of the Nile River in 1799. It came into the possession of the British government after the capitulation of Alexandria. The Rosetta Stone, currently on loan to the Leyendecker Museum, is the key to modern translations of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs into English text. You notice that half of the Rosetta Stone seems to be missing from the display, replaced by a small card that reads, Artifact 310 removed from display for research on 9/1/26 by O.M. Ironically, there's a gold Ankh medallion, the ancient Egyptian symbol of life, resting in the pool of blood. Apparently the shoe's owner stepped in some of the blood. It apparently belongs to a dainty foot. A close look reveals the initials P.S. inscribed in the back of the bloody ankh. You pick it up and place it in your purse. A mummy coffin built during the 19th dynasty. Inside and outside, both coffin and cover are decorated with large figures of gods, vignettes and inscriptions from the Book of the Dead, as well as emblems and decorations painted in bright colors. An outer mummy coffin, whose cartouches identify the occupant as Hatshepsut, the female pharaoh, daughter of Thothmes I. The inner coffin is located to the right of this one. An inner mummy coffin which was contained in the exterior mummy coffin to the left. Identified from the cartouches on both coffins, the occupant was probably Hatshepsut, the female pharaoh, daughter of Thothmes I. Hatshepsut built the magnificent tomb temple at Deir el-Bahri and ruled for 20 years with her lover Senmut. At her death, Hatshepsut's successor tried to erase all memory of her by destroying her statues and obliterating her name from her various monuments. An inner mummy coffin Hatshepsut at Pippin's shirt is immaculate, except for a few streaks of blood. His tie is partially undone, which is something that never would have happened if Dr. Carter had been alive to notice it. Dr. Carter seems to have suffered a severe trauma to his chest area. A close look at the dagger reveals the words, "Made in Pittsburgh," stamped on the part of the blade that is not buried in Pippin Carter's chest. To your naked eye, the rough surface of the dagger handle doesn't appear to hold any fingerprints, but that's something for the coroner to examine in detail. The flower is fake. It has no detectable smell. A tube runs from the back of the flower, behind the lapel, down to a squeeze bulb inside the vest. When you squeeze the bulb, a weak stream of water squirts you in the eye. Dr. Carter's flesh is looking rather pale, as if he's not feeling well. Perhaps it's because he's lost a lot of blood. The jacket is free of blood, but there is a bluish stain on one lapel. A close look and sniff at the stain makes you think that it's grape juice. The bulge on one side is ruining the carefully tailored lines of the tuxedo. When you reach into Pippin's tuxedo jacket, you find a notepad in his inner pocket. A notepad made of good quality paper. There's an imprint on the paper from the previous message written on the pad, but it's too faint to read. You pick it up and place it in your purse. There are no signs of scratches or bruises on his flesh. This could mean that the murderer, assuming this wasn't a suicide, knew Dr. Carter well enough to get close and stab him without arousing any suspicion. Or it could just mean that Dr. Carter was completely taken by surprise when someone assaulted him from the shadows.
You scream like a banshee, lass. Did you kill the man then?
No, I just walked in here and found him.
I suppose that would explain your screaming then. Did you see the murderer?
No.
All right, I'll talk to you later after you've had a chance to calm down. Just don't try to leave the building.